15,000 to 2,000 years ago, hunters and gatherers survived through harsh winters and steaming hot days and danger from predators of other species. Wolves were one of these dangerous species, and that could not be trusted. However, they slowly changed and became the first animal to be domesticated by humans. In many places like Europe, Asia, and the Middle Eastern, dogs helped humans by hunting, protecting, and farming, but they weren't the only ones who helped us. Cats also became domesticated thousands of years later and were known as the protectors of crops and grains. They controlled pests and helped families become healthier. This is why in Egypt, cats were seen as gods and were a huge status. But it wasn't until Gregory the Pope who said cats were incarnations of Satan simply because of their superstitious eyes. Revolving relationships between cats and dogs have changed through years. Many bureau evidence suggest that humans developed sentimental feelings towards their animals. Many were even buried in the same tomb. Nevertheless, dogs and cats have continued to transition from being truly wild animals to becoming valued as members of human families and society. Philosophers say that animals share emotions and think and feel and have souls just like humans. With the same values as ancient history, dogs and cats have such important tasks in our society. They work alongside police, military experts, and are great human companions for anxiety, stress, or depression. This is why major changes in current decades have acknowledged just how close humans have become to their animals, so close that some countries have laws put into place for animal cruelty, pain, or suffering. However, in the 19th century, many jurisdictions did not consider animals to have values at all. It wasn't a crime to even steal or harm them. There are an estimated of 70 to 80 million dogs and cats in the United States today. Some of them don't have homes, become strays, or are left abandoned by their owners who can't afford to take care of them. Fortunately, there are 13,600 estimated animal shelters nationwide, and 7.6 million of these companion animals enter shelters nationwide every day. PAWS, providing animal with support, a rescue animal shelter in St. George, Utah, have a no-kill policy, spays and neuters their animals, gives medicine to them, all in hopes of finding a home for each and every one, a man's best friend.
My name is Lynn Berger, and I am the Director of Operations and the Treasurer of PAWS. I have been with PAWS for 8 years. Our mission is to save animals' lives from kill shelters.
From fundraising to grant writing to being an advisory board member, Lynn has helped PAWS in aspects of PAWS organization, including helping pushing Utah to become the #1 state with no-kill shelters.
I was involved with helping St. George Shelter to become no-kill, and they did a lot of upgrades and changes to the shelter and their policies and procedures. There's a big push to have the state of Utah be the first state that's no-kill, and we're working closely with Best Friends in that initiative. When PAWS wasn't first started, the kill rate at the shelter here in St. George alone was 35% for dogs, and it was about 80% for cats.
Sadly, each year 2.6 million of shelter animals are still euthanized today. 1.2 million dogs and 1.4 million cats. PAWS has rescued many of these animals.
And today I can say that the last 2 years they have been no-kill. There's been 0 deaths except for extreme illnesses or aggression. I work with other shelters in the southern Utah. I'm trying to help Cedar and Enoch. They have a very bad overpopulation with cats right now, so we're trying to work with them to come up with a spay and neuter program up there. A lot of them I've named. Okay, that's Goldie up on top. PAWS also runs a low-cost spay and neuter program here in St. George for the neighboring communities. We have agreements with a couple of vets here in town to do, the surgeries at a lower cost. This one is Flower, and she's in a cage, like I said, because she's getting spayed this morning, so she couldn't have any food overnight. Right, Flower? Huh? Because if you don't control the population, we never get ahead. Right? And this is Natani, and Natani came from the St. George shelter. And this is Tink, and he came from the St. George shelter. Came to us. We've had her, she's probably one of our longer residents. She was really, really matted and super skinny. So we had her shaved, and we're trying to get her fattened up, and we have to make sure she's healthy. And Dusty, another one, we got him from a high kill shelter, I think Brigham City up north. And he stopped eating when he got here because he was so depressed. And he went into liver failure, so it took us a long time to get him healthy. That's where a lot of our money goes to, is our care for the animals. Cash donations from our supporters. We have some sponsors. We have a golf tournament every year. We do get some grant money for medical expenses for spay and neuters.
PAWS also do events like hiking with dogs and loving arms, an adoption day for animals. One of the main places that PAWS gets their financials from is a small little boutique in St. George, Utah, called Positively Boutique.
My name is Carolyn Reynolds and I'm the manager of the PAWS thrift store. I'm basically just in charge of making sure everything looks nice, all the decor. And we don't like to consider ourselves a thrift store, we like to consider ourselves a boutique. We don't just throw things in, we set it out so that it looks nice and we find that people will buy more. There's two of us that work here like on a full-time basis. Laurie is my assistant and then the others are volunteers. Anybody can volunteer at any time. You can volunteer at the shelter, at the store. We're always looking for volunteers. The more the merrier, you know, because there's always something to do. We like to keep the store tidy, you know, so when you come in, when the volunteers come in, they just work in an area tidying up, putting out clothes or however it feels. The people volunteer at PAWS. Some volunteer at the shelter as well. So like Mary will come in and volunteer at the store on a Tuesday morning. And she goes to the office and volunteers at the shelter in the office some days. Everything's donated by our customers. We don't buy anything, everything's donated. And then everything that we make apart from our wages goes to the animals and it pays for the vet bills. When we rescue, neuter, spaying, injections, vaccines, the food, it pays for the store, the shelter and everything. So this store makes the money to pay for keeping the animals. People are welcome to bring their dogs in. We have doggy treats that we give them and they come in and play the toys. We love for the dogs to come in. There's plenty of dogs in the shelters that need homes, small dogs and big dogs. I mean, you'd be surprised. It used to be years ago you couldn't find a small dog in the shelter. Now we have so many, and especially we go and rescue from all the kill shelters.
We kind of have different groups for different, like we have dog volunteers, we have cat volunteers, we have office volunteers, and we have volunteers for the thrift store. Then we also have volunteers that help with fundraising. We have volunteers that help with the website and social media. We have volunteers that help with adoption events. So some of them cross over and do more, like Pat used to be, she used to help here in the cat room, and she did that for a lot of years, and she said, I think it's time for me to switch over to the cats, which is fine. And then we have another volunteer that does one day with cats, one day with the office. We have one that does one day with the thrift store, one day in the office. So they cross over, but we have, there's different needs, different types of volunteers that, and it depends on how much time they have. The shift here is like 3 hours, dog shift's 3 hours, office is 3 hours to take care of the animals.
It's rewarding, but it's also really scary and frightening for some of them. We got this one over here that's scared she won't come out of her cage. Look at, like it says there, I am very scared. Something happened that scared her, I guess. There's a team here of young gals that spend so many hours with these dogs. It's amazing. And I just contributed one morning a week to help out. That's it. Somebody fell in love with them and they want them, and they're waiting for the right transport, I guess. So he's just a visitor right now. And he's been here for over a year. But he's just, he loves belly rubs. He'll lay in your lap and you just give him a big belly rub and he just loves it. And it's kind of our office dog. He'll sit out in the chair out in the office. He has seizures and he has to have medication. Oh. That's what we're doing. Hopefully he'll eat it with us. We never got to open up another soft can for him. You gonna eat this, Boo?
For the same reasons that people relinquish or give away their dogs, there's also reasons why people adopt animals, whether it's for a loss or a death, or even divorce or other reasons. People adopt all the time.
Paperwork. Here she is. My husband did all the training, and I lost him 3 years ago. So It's okay. Rocky, thank goodness, was so trained, and I talked to him like a human, you know. We were kind of grieving together. He lost his best friend. It's tough. Here's a really nice little purple one. Come on over here. There you go, right for you, right there. That's yours.
Don't you worry.
There you are. See?
In fact, people love their animal friends so much that they treat them like humans and even keep them inside their house or even go as far as having them sleep in the same bed.
And became a significant part of my family. When I got married and had my own family, she became one of those parts of that family, and I think that each of my children and my spouse, we not adopted her. So for me and my family, it was meaningful, and it played a role. And to this day, I have children who never knew that dog, but can look at a family picture, and go, "Oh, that's Shotzi, who was our dog."
In 2013, $55 to $60 billion were spent on food, toys, care, entertainment, grooming, hip replacement, joints replacements, medicines, clothing, leashes, accessories, hair dye, and other random products for their dogs and or cats. All of this adding up to an estimated of $62.75 billion in 2016. If that doesn't say value of animals, then we don't know what does.
I wasn't 100% sure what I wanted to do when I first decided to take on a dog. But a lady I worked with has a daughter that works at the veterinarian office in the town that I lived in, and told me about a dog they had and just didn't want to give to the pound because they would immediately have euthanized him because of his breed. So I went in and met him and fell in love. When I went in there to meet him, I sat down on the ground with him and he just climbed right in my lap, and he still to this day climbs in my lap. He's been a great companionship to me and my children, especially my son. They have a great bond, a boy and his dog. I think giving a dog a second chance is always the best.
Also, terminology has changed as well. Human pet owners or masters have become parents or guardians of their dogs or cats, and when they want to buy a pet, they instead adopt them as a part of their families, in which their pets become their children or babies.
I originally didn't want a dog, and she's given me so much more self-esteem and confidence. In fact, Tia is really a special dog. At night, she lays on my side of the bed, and when I'm sleeping, and let's say my breathing patterns get weird, or I have a nightmare, or I yell out in my sleep, she puts her paws on my stomach and wakes me up and licks my face until I'm awake. And she won't go anywhere until I tell her I'm okay. She watches me and makes sure she's just an excellent companion. I have a friend that we got another Australian Shepherd from. She has a really tender heart, and she has rescued several dogs, and those dogs now, she's changed their lives. Those dogs, sometimes you could even go up to them to pet them, but now they've got these fun, cute personalities, and they like people. They've totally changed. I highly recommend for people to go and rescue a dog.
Once you start in the rescue business and it becomes a passion, there is such a need out there for the animals. They don't have a voice of their own. We're their voice. Rescue doesn't sleep. We get calls all the time for animals. The shelters can't be no-kill without the rescue groups.
They basically save cats. They're like a non-profit organization type of thing. Like, they just take all the cats on as many as they can and just try and find homes for them. Like, we were debating between our cat or the three-legged cat, and we got the one with a broken leg instead of no leg. But yeah. But they just have a bunch of stuff like that, and I think it's important to give cats like that a home as opposed to just all the kittens.
This is why we do what we do. These babies. These little guys can't help themselves. They need us to help them. And so you can either open your wallets, open your hearts, foster, volunteer, donate. We have a wish list on our website of items that we need. For a long time I didn't have the time to volunteer, so I financially supported organizations. Now I give my time. Some people, can do both, some can do one or the other, but without us, these little guys don't have a chance.